Hey everybody, it's your girl Nisha, aka Nisha the Voice, coming in for another edition of Industry Conversations One on One. Our special guest tonight is Miss Jules Nobles. She will be joining us tonight, and we're going to get into business a little bit, and we're going to talk about mental health in the industry, just as well as talking about how it is to just be in the industry from the comics side of you. And then also we're going to get into and just talk about how the industry is now. There's so many things that are going on right now in the world, especially in regards to mental health. It's very important that we as artists keep a very healthy environment around us. It's so important for us to do so. The other thing, we just came off the hiatus with the Super Bowl. There's so much controversy about the Rihanna performance, and for me, I really enjoyed it. I don't know about anybody else, but I enjoyed it. The fact that she was pregnant and she gave a awesome show due to the circumstances. I've seen Rihanna perform. Actually, I love to see her perform in the way that she danced and the way that she commands the crowd. She gave you face. She gave you body. She actually really did a wonderful job. I just don't understand what the controversy was about her not being as provocative or being the way that she was when she was previously on stage. Really, she doesn't care because she's a billionaire. And she did the magnificent thing of promoting her business. In the middle of the show, Homegirl touched up her face. Homegirl had that red lip, and everybody's now looking for that red lip from Fenty, including me. So definitely, I'm going to be copping that red lip. She has a wonderful line. I am so proud of her because, you know, just looking at where she came from into now being billionaire status, I think that is commendable. I think we as sisters should, more than likely lift her up because there's so many people coming for her right now. So many people coming for her. And I love the way her mindset is because at this point in time, she's caring about her family. She's caring about the man that she loves, and she's working her business. So, kudos to Rihanna, for basically taking care of business and definitely being a business woman because that's what you do. When you get on a platform just like that, you are to promote your business. And now she's going to generate hella sales because she did it at the Super Bowl. I don't know about y'all, but I said, that's a damn good move. I love it. I love it. I love it. But now, without further ado, we're gonna bring my girl Jules into the room. Jules, how are you,
Hi.
darling?
Hi, I'm so grateful. Thank you. You've already said a mouthful. Like I'm over here. I'm literally tuned in because yeah, you already gave a really nice intro to this conversation.
Yeah, yeah, because I think people really don't understand, how great it is to have a healthy environment
Oh
being an
yeah,
artist. You know what I mean? I mean, you as being an actress as well, and just on the other side, what we're going to talk about, the other side of Jules, it's just people really don't understand like how important it really is to have a healthy environment.
true.
People cheering for you on the sideline that's going to help you grow your business and be the artist because don't no one want to tour for the rest of their life. They want to be able to
No,
enjoy the fruits of their labor, and I think that is what she's doing.
yeah, it
And so
is.
many people are jealous about it. They're just so jealous about the fact that this girl is actually making business moves.
It and that says a lot about them, more about them than her. But it does say what
Right.
you said about her. And I think for us, we should try to get into that mental space without being a
Mm-hmm.
billionaire, without being a performer, without being an actor, just being, to
Yes.
be that comfortable focusing on what I want to be without being provocative and without being,
Right.
promiscuous or promoting sex or doing whatever it is you don't want to do. You should be able to do that as a person without even having a label, a title, a status. Um, Having that is what I promote, I know, in the mental health space. And that is
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying is having that support system that reinforces that when you may be in a room that represents the opportunity as maybe you're underqualified or
Right.
you should have why did you wear that to the interview? You should probably woo them.
Yes.
No, it should just be Jules.
right, authentic self. And I mean, that's a perfect, yeah, that's a perfect segue into going into my first question is, being an actress, where did the love for acting come?
I think it came from initially my parents watched a lot of movies when I was a kid. And I remember my mother liking a lot of different types of movies. She liked The Sound of Music, it was a
Mm,
musical. She
mhm.
liked Coming to America. I knew at that moment, I was probably like 3 or 4, maybe a little bit older. I knew it at that moment I would live in New York at some point. It was just, it gave me that. She loved The Wizard of Oz. She loved watching Michael Jackson, on like the American Music Awards. We watched a whole lot of stuff. So for me, I got to see authentic characters who didn't have social media to promote their performances. Either you were
Right,
good or not.
right. And it's just
so,
such a new day and age where social media like rules everything now. It rules everything what we do, and it's like it can make or break you. But
mm,
in
for
this
good
day,
reason or not.
yes, yes, yes. I mean, a blogger can just put out anything, and then everybody believes it instead of actually doing their own research. And then here it is, you got this big headline. Just as they were doing these death hoax, where as soon as the death hoax comes out on social media, everybody and their mama is putting RIPs out, and there hasn't been an official statement by the family or the publicist.
So yeah, social media it has been one of our greatest inventions and discoveries, but it's also been undermining in a lot of ways that I don't think speak to authenticity.
Yes, 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 definitely. And
But
congratulations.
that's how I found my love for acting though, just watching movies as a child. And um I think having an imagination. I was born in Mississippi. And
Yes.
so being on the porch with my grandparents, we didn't have like a Nintendo Switch, and we didn't even have the things of that time until I got to be a little bit older. I'd say like 8, 9, 10, we started getting things. But when my
Mhm.
imagination was forming as a child, like 4, 5, 6, I had the world, and I say that because it was I could go outside and imagine myself wherever,
Right.
and we had to use our imagination to play. It was almost like living in a third world country because we didn't
Mhm.
have and I always use New York as my point of reference. It's like where my heart is, but you can go there and see everything, see different types of people and
Right.
different cultures. That wasn't happening, in the 90s or whatever, in Mississippi. So that was where I also formed my creativity. It came from
Mhm.
a very organic place. And I don't, even now, I don't allow a lot of things to enter that space for me. I like it to stay like that.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, you brought up a perfect point because being a Southern girl, being a girl from the South, you know, people hate on the Southern
I
girls.
celebrate that. I
Yeah,
do. I love New York, but nothing can teach you Southern charm.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. So people talk about us Southern girls all the time because there's this up north thing and Southern girl thing, but at the end of the day, no one you cannot be the Southern girl, okay? You
I
cannot
think
be the
Beyonce
Southern
proved
girl.
that. And then there's end the conversation, and then there's crickets.
Yeah, exactly, right? And I mean, just like you said, it's like, being from the South, you did have to use your creativity because I remember growing up, we had to be creative when we were outside. You had to be, that goes into doing improvs. So when you're doing improvs, you got to think on the spot. You got to
It
be able to
does.
come up with something, and you got to be able to like if they give you say, hey, I need you to do a character, you got to be able to use your imagination of what that character is going to look like and then put it to life, bring it to life on
Yes.
screen. So at the end of the day, we had to do those type of things. It wasn't like we had too much to really play with. Because I remember, like you said, when you get up in the morning, you got your chores, you got all these other different types of things. But from 12 to 6 or 7 o'clock at night, you're outside playing or you're doing something else.
And it was just two of us at the time. We had another sister later, but so we wanted to jump rope. So we would tie the jump rope to whatever, a tree, I don't know,
Yeah,
whatever. So we had to constantly create, like constantly.
right. Yeah, I mean, I did the same thing. I had a brother. My brother would be trying to turn the double dutch rope the jump. So so I get it. I get it. also, congratulations on your master's degree. For those
Oh
that
my
do
God.
not know,
Thank you.
you
Thank
are
you.
definitely doing your thing because not
Thank
only you an
you.
actress, you're also a nurse and you're going to be a nurse practitioner as well.
Yeah.
So, on that note, what was the turning point for you to say, you know what, I want to go back to school and I want to pursue nursing?
Nursing happened before acting. So nursing was my parents saying, I got a magazine when I was in middle school. We loved Teen and 17 magazine, and they had
Mm-hmm.
these. You remember that, right?
I had a subscription.
Right? Like who didn't? So I wanted to be Tyra Banks. Like she was my person. She was my person, and so I applied for this. It was a model search. Like,
Mm-hmm.
who's picking me from Mississippi? So I did a lot of pageants and I thought, well, hey, this is probably next level. I got picked. And my parents were just like, no, no, you're going to go to school and you're going to, so that was my safety net. My parents were like, go to school, get your degree, and then you can do all of these things that you think are great. But this
Mm-hmm.
is great. And they were right. So kids out there, listen to your parents. Like nursing saved my life in the manner of being comfortable in life.
Mm-hmm.
I could go to Alaska and I have a job, and I could go to wherever, Scandinavia, I have a job.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a security that sometimes other industries don't provide. And I also had a love for it because I grew up next door. A lot of times my parents worked at a factory with my grandparents. So caring for older people and having a respect and a love for the aging population. I would go to other people's houses with my grandmother, and she was doing like pretty much nursing work at the time, but she wasn't a nurse. And so it was a learned behavior as well. So I became a nurse first, and then I moved to Atlanta and started becoming curious about acting. And it came naturally to me, and then I found an acting class that was a very authentic and very organic type of acting. It wasn't this get on camera and be cute and that kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. It was, I don't care if you're cute, let me see what you can do. And
Mm-hmm.
so the instructor was very, I won't say tough, because, and she was, but she was very serious about ensuring that we really wanted to do the craft of storytelling, and it wasn't something you wanted quick fame. And so
Right.
because I went through that process, it was a stripped down process. You really had to be sure about what you're doing, or she was just like, cut the BS, go sit down.
Right.
It was a no nonsense type of class. And that was my introduction then to New York and that industry, and then it went from there. So I was already a nurse in critical care, and then I took time during COVID to go back and do practitioner because it would give me more flexibility and ownership of my
Right.
time.
Right.
So that was kind of how that happened.
Right, right. Well, again, congratulations. And like you said, that is definitely a great field to be in. Anyone or whatsoever that understands the career fields, nursing, healthcare is booming.
Yeah,
They're at a huge advantage right now because it is so much needed right now. You can,
hmm,
like you said, you can travel anywhere and you can have a job.
totally.
It's that security that you really do need. And, definitely I'm an advocate for that to make sure you do have that security because you need that in this business. You really
You
do. You
do.
need something to fall back on because you never know, what may transpire,
Yeah.
and also, with you basically pursuing acting as well, you've also been on the intern. So tell us a little bit about that. How was that like?
I was a background actor in it, and it made me want to, it set the bar. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't, I had an orientation to I had orientation to indie film, and I love indie film. It's like it's theater and it's indie film for me. Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. I'll do that till the day I die, for sure. Yeah, for sure, for sure. But when I did do background work on the intern, it was like, okay, this is another world, and yeah, you got to really bring it. And this girl is getting it in one take, and she got, it was just watching
Yeah.
someone, Robert De Niro, watching.
Yes.
I was
Yes.
like, so,
Legend. Legend.
oh my, and I'm not that starstruck. So I'm going to name three people. So Robert De Niro for sure, although I kept, I'm professional.
Mm-hmm.
Diane Carroll,
Yes.
Pam Grier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I would get
Right.
undone.
Right. I mean, it's to be able to be in the presence of greatness. I think is a huge accomplishment for anyone. It doesn't matter, if it was a background or even just a small little part. Just you being in that presence is just it just says it all. And I think that's a huge something that accomplishment that you can just cherish forever. So you
I
know what?
did.
I was on the intern. I was in presence of Robert De Niro. Okay.
It was awesome. He is
Okay.
as awesome as a person, I believe. Then he's just a dynamic person, and I think our experiences shape us and definitely groom us to be able to tell a story from a place of truth. Oh,
Right.
he is the truth.
I'll trust me, and I definitely believe it. I believe that.
Yeah.
And and speaking of individuals in the industry and mental health as well, you are a huge mental health advocate.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
and we continue to see so many young artists. We continue to see young and old artists,
Mhm.
um, falling to mental health. And I know we were talking about it earlier within the interview. From a nursing perspective and a mental health advocate, how important is it for us in this day and age to keep a check on our mental health?
It's as important as a heart checkup. It's as important as getting my manicure. It's as important as, you calling your sister or your person that who you vent to. It's on those levels, that wavelength of, getting your heart check or your wellness check annually, your pap smear, whatever you're getting, it should be that important. I didn't believe it really until I started seeing more and more patients in the ICU coming in because not they weren't morbidly obese because they like food that much, or they're careless, or they're a nasty person, or none of that. They had other issues that were compelling them to eat,
Mm,
and then you have blood pressure and diabetes and cholesterol issues and clogged arteries and all this other stuff, but it all stemmed from depression. It
mm-hmm.
was undiagnosed, it was unrecognized by their family members, and it was untreated, unmanaged. And this is how you end up with high blood pressure and hyperlipidemia and just all these other things. So then I thought, well, I'm treating the after effects being a critical care nurse. Why don't I
Right.
move to the other side of it where I can talk to people about their problems because I enjoyed this engagement? Like we're having
Mm-hmm.
I like, dialogue. And so I got in at this college in Louisiana, and the more I learned about it, the more I learned about myself and like where things were misunderstood,
Yeah.
in our culture, in the world, especially in our culture. Though I see way more problems and less solutions
Mm-hmm.
offered in our culture and in our race and in our communities. I believe than others, and definitely way more denial, way
Yeah.
more suppression, like just be strong. And that's not the answer all the time. So those were some of the, and I have an uncle too who suffers from schizophrenia
Mm,
on my mother's side. And so to see him be spoken to like less than a man,
yeah.
and to see him be handled less than a man, and he's a grown man,
Mm-hmm.
to see him mishandled this way and disrespected, um, those were motivating factors for me to really be the change.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it takes a special person to work with individuals with mental health issues.
it's true.
And like you said, a lot of people don't recognize that they do have it. They don't want to go and attend a therapy session, or they feel that they're okay. And like you said, like depression leads some people to eat. Um, a lot of people self-diagnose themselves instead of
Mhm.
actually saying, "Hey, I'm not okay." It's okay not to be okay. It's the point of the matter is of recognizing it and then going and getting help. You know,
Yes.
and it takes a lot of courage to do that. But at the same
Mhm.
time, as we consistently see mental health on the rise right now, it is so important for a person to have a check on their mental health all the time. And again,
Definitely.
like you said before, have a healthy environment. But the last thing that I do want to talk to you about is your upcoming film with 480 Films.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
I'm so
tell me
excited.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about that, and when can we expect to see it?
Okay, so we had a location today that flooded. It was a location we're going to do primarily all of the film, well, most of the film there. But it's a thriller. It's really a high energy. I love action. Like that's kind of
Yeah.
my go-to if someone wants to do a project with me. Like I'm like, oh, is there any action in it? But I actually like the cartwheels and the running and
Yeah,
shooting. I love like that is where I live. But I also like comedy and drama. I think is easy for me. So that's probably why I don't gravitate because I can do that with my eyes closed. I believe
yeah,
so. To give me a challenge, I think like horror or but this movie is a thriller. It's very adventurous. It's very suspenseful. It's very high energy and it's filmed in Georgia. I think Georgia is now the Hollywood of the South. It's just
it is.
Tyler Perry kind of like made that happen. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's so I'm one of four leads. It's an all female lead cast. We have worked. Most of us have worked or we either or worked we worked with each other or we know of each other. I should say
got it.
and highly respect each other. That was one thing too that I love about 480. They have a culture of teamwork, and I've
Hmm.
worked with them before. And when you're on the set, it's very close knit. It's very intimate. Everybody's professional, don't get me wrong, but you get that, you're professional, but you also know that you can be comfortable enough to say, okay, I'm not comfortable doing that. Or,
Right.
it's not, there isn't this understood pressure with 480. 480 is one of the companies that I believe I'll work with long term.
Hmm.
I've worked with them before, but anyway, this role is it's really perfect for me going back into acting because I've had 2 years off being in school. But it is because of the familiarity factor and then the type of role it is. The character is a little complex in the fact that she's a tough person, and that's not my personality. I'm very talkative and I'm very open. I'm very jovial, and I like to laugh. I'm very light spirited. This is just I can't help that. But this character is really tough and gritty, and so it does take. I actually have the script right here. It does take me, doing my thing to get acclimated to how this character should be portrayed. But it's really a film. It should be out by the end of this year. I think they're going to take it for a festival or something. I don't even
Okay.
know, but we would definitely love to come back and talk to you once we're done
Oh
with the
yeah, of course, of course. Yeah,
yeah,
I
we'd
would
be
love.
glad to talk to you. Like when I told some of the producers that I was going on the show and I was gonna mention it, and they're like, "Oh my God, that is so dope!" Like, we'd love to know industry conversations. We'd love to be like a because they do a lot of films actually for
Yes,
it. Yeah, they do.
yes.
So
So we would definitely love to have you all
we would
on
love
the
that
show as
too.
well. Yeah, to talk about it as well. And I truly and honestly appreciate you being on the show with me tonight. And my last question is, if you could speak to the younger artists or actresses in regards to coming into the industry, what piece of advice would you give them?
There are a couple of pieces. Number one, though, I would say always garner great relationships. Everything you do is relationship based. When you meet somebody, you may be meeting them for the one time you're never going to see them again. Not in the industry though, it's pretty small. Most of the time, you're either you're going to see them again or you're going to hear their name again.
Right.
And they're either going to see you again or they're going to hear your name again. So so always think about relationship, and it's okay to end relationships too. It's I
Mhm.
mean, that's okay too, but just always think about, the way I got on this show today is relationship. It's because
Right.
the times that I was out and about, I always treated people with respect and kindness, no matter what. Even if I was ending the relationship, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It was never an element of disrespect or conceitedness or anything like that. Like always build relationships in the industry, and always know yourself and what you bring to the table, and always add value. So those
Yeah.
three things are period in the
Right.
industry.
Right. And you're absolutely right. Like those
Yeah.
things are very important. And I
Mhm.
think at the end of the day, when we think about relationship building, especially in the industry, it's very important because you never know, who knows who. Like you said, it's very small.
The
So
janitor, the janitor.
yes.
You better treat the janitor. If you don't, it says more about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. But again, Jules, thank you so much for coming on the show with me
Thank
tonight.
you.
Where can everybody reach you? Like, where's your Facebook, your Twitter, where people can look you up?
I finally got back on social media, and I only have Instagram and Facebook. I do have YouTube. So once I graduate, I can then be more animated and very engaging. But I'm very active on Instagram. It's at Jules Nobles, and so is my Facebook.
All right, all right, all right. And definitely we would love to have you and 480 back on the show as well, to talk more about the new film that's coming out as well. So we would definitely love to have you all back. And again, thank you so much for
Thank
being on
you.
Industry Conversations 101. I really enjoyed talking to you.
I did too. I will stay in touch. Don't worry.
Yes,
What
definitely,
you see is what you
definitely.
get.
All right. Well, good night.
Okay. Good night.
Love her, love her, love her. Thanks so much, Jules, for coming on the show tonight, and chatting it up with your girl, Nisha, aka Nisha the Voice, here on Industry Conversations 101. Make sure you all tune in the second and third Thursday of each month here for the hottest interviews as well as entertainment news. And then, of course, we also do music reviews from time to time. So definitely go over to our Instagram page at Industry Combos 101. Click the link in the bio if you would like to be a guest on the show, just as well if you would like your music reviewed on Industry Conversation. Shouts out to my boy DJ Gates. Hopefully, he will be back with us very soon. Sending our well wishes to him as well. So definitely, you all tune in again, second and third Thursdays here on Industry Conversations 101. I love you all so much, and thank you all so much for tuning in. Hit me up on Twitter at Nisha the Voice, also on Facebook, Nisha the Voice, as well as Instagram, Nisha the Voice. Again, this has been Industry Conversations 101. Good night, everybody.